Nice. There we go. Cool. So we're pushing back. We're pushing back against the greedy corporations. That's really the issue. They try to tell us that there is 1,000 different issues going on in this country, but there is not. There is one issue, and it's the people at the top. It's the damn corporations, because if a company is successful, its employees should be successful too. That is all that we are saying, is that if a company is successful, its employees should be successful too. So we are pushing back and we are saying that if people do some of the hard work, they should get their fair share of the reward. And that's all that we're asking for, are the people that do the hard work get their fair share of the reward. Now, what's their fair share? Well, their fair share is enough to live on. How much is enough to live? Well, it's enough for food, it's enough for housing, and it's enough for health care. Because if people don't have enough for food, if people don't have enough for housing, if people don't have enough for health care, well, there's a lot of arguments that if people are working hard, they should be able to afford those things. But beyond it being the right thing to do, well, number one, it's the right thing to do because the business relies on those people to make them their money. And think of this, a business that is super successful, is making all this money, but none of the employees are successful. None of the employees can buy food. None of the employees can successfully buy housing. None of the employees can easily purchase healthcare. Sound like a country anybody's been living in? And then imagine that if a company is successful, its employees should be too. If you do the hard work, you should get your fair share of the reward. What's your fair share? Enough for food, enough for housing, enough for healthcare. And the problem in this country is that the people up top took more than their fair share. They're greedy, the corporations and the politicians. That's exactly what happened. They want us to think that there's 1,000 different issues going on, but it's not. There's one issue going on, and that one issue is the greed from the people up top. And the reason it feels like there's 1,000 different issues going on is because they figured out that it was cheaper to divide us than it was to just pay us our fair share. Because we need money to live, not because we are greedy, but because we do the hard work and they rely on us to make them their money. That's what this is all about. They rely on us to get the job done every day in order to make their money. And basically just saying that if a company is successful, its employees should be successful too. Because if you do the hard work, you should get your fair share of the reward. And what's your fair share? Enough for food, enough for housing, enough for healthcare. And that's all that people should get. Because in a society, if people don't have food, housing, or healthcare, then they either suffer or it falls on the public good. And that is fine. The public good is there in case of emergencies, not in a manufactured crisis when the people up top are taking more than their fair share. That's the only problem that we have going on, is the people up top are taking more than their fair share. Their greed is what the problem with this country is. And then the issue is this, because if somebody doesn't get enough money for food, doesn't have enough money for housing or healthcare, then it either falls on the public good or they suffer. But there is a third option, because these companies are successful. It's just their employees aren't successful too. And that's what they need to do, is make their employees successful. Because 80% of Americans can't afford a $5,000 emergency. $5,000 is a normal occurrence. That is a medical issue. That is a car repair. That is a housing bill. And when 80% of people can't afford a $5,000 issue, that is not personal failure. That is not 200 million people forgetting how to budget or forgetting how to work hard. What it is it's a rigged system. So that's what we're pushing back against. That's what we're doing here with all the free stickers. We are sending out free stickers to anyone that wants them because we are pushing back. We are sick of this. And what we have to do is we have to recognize the problem. We have to recognize that it's not 1,000 different issues, that it's one issue. It's the greed of the people up top. And what they really do is they try to divide us. They make us point fingers left or right. They go, and they tell one lie there, and then and they tell another lie there. And all they're trying to do is get us off the same page so that we are not speaking language. And what we need to do is we need to get on the same page again. That is what we are pushing back for, to get on the same page. And that's what the free stickers are going to do. That's what this whole movement is about, because it's not even just. There we go. Sorry, I was having some technical problems there. If you're still there, appreciate you watching through. So that is what we're doing. We're starting with free stickers. We're moving to coordinated pushback. And we have the plan. We know that we're going to win. All we need to do is spread the word. And that's where we've already partnered with so many groups. Number one, we got Money Out of Politics. We got Black Out the System. Black Out the System is a big boycott coming up. And that's where we all are working in partnership, where we are helping take the small steps forward every single day, showing people how to push back, because we're all already pushing back. We all already pushing back. So it's, well, that's where we aren't too concerned with anything that's happened inside the system, because anything that's happening inside the system is broken. And it is difficult. Obviously, we are supporting groups that are pushing legislation and things like that. But we are building people power outside the system. And if we get enough people just saying it's not left or right, it's up versus down, then we're going to get every single, we're going to have whatever we want in terms of legislation and things like that. Because what's hard now is that it feels a little bit like good cop, bad cop for the corporate class, where obviously one party is a much rougher than the other. But when the other one comes in, it's not like it is a huge help for working people as well. So regardless of the impact that it has, I think that what we are trying to do is just take small steps together. And that is the whole idea, because we're not asking people to jump in that, hey, we're making this big rush. No, we're starting small, because what we need to do is build community. Because what we're pushing back against is the greed from the corporations, the greed from the politicians. Because all that we believe is that if a company is successful, its employees should be successful too. And that's exactly what we're pushing for, because if you do the hard work, you should get your fair share of the reward. And it's less about what happens in the short term or the midterm, and more about what happens in the long term, because we're looking for a cultural shift towards, hey, we're going to point the finger left or right. No, we're going to all point one particular finger straight up at the top. Because I always tell people, no matter what somebody else's view is, if they are a working American, then I believe we would be able to figure out a lot more of the problems than just two regular people trying to figure out the problems that are going on. Because right now, the people in charge, they don't want to solve the problems because they make money off of it. Whether it's low wages, high pricing, healthcare, housing, climate change, foreign wars, they make money off of all of it. So they're not looking to actually solve the problems. So that's the number one thing, is we can't keep expecting a broken system to actually do anything for us. We have to start building community ourselves and say, hey, we think the world should look this way instead, because we don't really love the look that you have now, because 80% of us can't afford a $5,000 emergency. And what ends up happening is that if you can't afford food If you can't afford housing, if you can't afford healthcare, then you don't have any security. That's really what we're talking about here is security. And if you don't have security, you're going to be scared and afraid all the time. And if you're scared and afraid, you're going to be easy to divide. You're going to be easy to manipulate. Sound like any country people have been living in lately? And that's exactly what's going on. That's why the first step is recognition. And recognition and coordination take a long time. It's like we're gearing up for the championship game. That's almost exactly what's happening. But in order, we can't jump right to the championship game. We have to build all of our skills first. We have to build all of our unity first. We have to build that teamwork. And that's what we're doing with the small steps together is we're putting out free stickers and we're all already pushing back. We have a word for it. It's called quiet quitting, right? We all quiet quit when we hear about record profits every single month. And then the people up, but we're not able to make ends meet. We start quiet quitting. We say, we are done with this. You are not getting our full commitment. You are not getting our full skill, our full effort, because you're not paying me enough. So what we do is we coordinate our quiet quitting. And this is less about impacts for the midterms and more about impacts for the people that own the politicians. And that would be the corporations. So what we start doing is we start coordinating our quiet quitting. We start coordinating our pushback. And we start documenting it together, like big time, showing people what is up. And those are our first steps. And that's how we gather the troops. That's how we get more people in. That is how we recruit. That's how we show others how to recognize the problem. So then we move to escalation. That's where, recognize to coordination. Coordination is when we are doing that quiet quitting, doing the free stickers, getting people out there. And that's really how we recruit, how we spread the word, how we show others. Because really, the other thing we're doing is we're building a menu for people. We're not saying you have to do this. If you only want to quiet quit and take 5 minutes off of your job every couple of days, then yeah, do that 5 minutes and come back into it. So, well, that's where we just really appreciate that, man. Thank you, friend. That is great. Well, that's where we all are creatures of the system, right? That's exactly kind of what it is, where we all see every now and then how it could be different. That's where my favorite example is everybody loves Publix down in Florida. And Publix is this great employee-owned company, or there's the same one in HEB or HEB in Texas, like this great grocery chain that's an employee-owned company. And those are just the kind of things where it's just people are taking more than their fair share. And I think if we can explain to people that, well, what they've done is for 50 years, they've said, oh, we can take more than our fair share because we're successful and because it doesn't hurt you. What we're trying to finally tell people is, well, it actually does hurt you, because what they're doing is they're not paying people enough to live. And when they don't pay people enough to live, we all end up paying for it. And that's okay in times of emergency, but not for 80% of Americans. That's because they're not working, they're not being paid enough, because the companies are very successful. All these companies are so successful, but then none of their employees can purchase, buy, or do anything. And that's where they make sure to keep them stuck intentionally. And that is what we are pushing back with. The cool part is it's not just this one movement. We have thousands of movements coming in because we all realize we have to come together. So all that we're doing is we're coordinating these stickers. We're giving every single movement stickers as they come in. And we're saying, hey, put these stickers up, put these stickers up. Then as we do these lives where we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, all this stuff, Blackout the System is another big one that we're working with. And then as people join us and hear about it like you are and are saying, hey, this might be a good idea. What can I do? Well, then, hey, we'll say, well, first we can give you stickers. But number two, we've got all these 50, 100 other groups, 1,000 other groups that we work with. And if they are doing anything that you like, hey, let's push it back. So that's where coordinate national pushback, maximize local impact. So really appreciate you hanging out today and listening. Go to the website. It's theTakeItBackMovement.com. I think it might be right there in my name too. I think my name on the platform is the Take It Back Movement. So go ahead and check it out on there. but really appreciate the support too. That's always so nice to hear that when you put out your effort and time. I'm sitting here packing these stickers because we're getting hundreds of signups a day. So it is really cool to see people. Now I got to pack all these stickers, which is, hey, we're more than happy to do because we're getting the word out there. So really appreciate that support. It makes me feel good while I'm packing these stickers the whole time. So I got to get going, but I'll be back on, usually try to get on each night around this time. So, you can help by spreading the word, telling other people, and promoting this. So awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the night.